Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Combo Breaker 99 back with another video. Just want to go back and talk about a few past weekend's fights. Well, one specifically on this video. Want to talk about Friday's fight against Lomachenko versus Anthony Crolla. First off, man, I mean, this is really what everybody expected Lomachenko to do. You know, he was able to destroy Anthony Crolla in 4 rounds. And I mean, when you're talking about a guy who doesn't really look like they came to fight, you know, that's what we expected Lomachenko to do. In the first couple of rounds, it was like Lomachenko just kept applying this type of pressure on Anthony Crolla, where Anthony Crolla just didn't have any confidence. First round, he looked like he didn't even want to engage in anything. You know, he didn't want to really counter. He was just kind of on the back foot with his hands high the whole time and just kind of using a lot of movement, but not really good movement. More so, that's kind of what you call running in boxing. Like, to me, if a guy is moving around using a lot of angles, to get in and out, but he's still getting shots off, to me, that's not running. But if you're constantly just like moving and moving straight back and still like moving to the point where you're not really putting yourself in any position to capitalize on your oncoming opponent, that's running to me. And that's kind of what Crolla was doing the first 2 rounds. He just kept moving around while Lomachenko was closing the distance, but still going in and out and just kind of working the jab just a little bit in the straight left hand and just landing a couple of body shots. But man, it was like in that third round, Lomachenko really started to let his hands go on him and kind of put him more onto the ropes and just start landing harder shots. The jab and the left hook at a good angle, and the left uppercut at a good angle. And then by the fourth round, he just went in. He just started letting his hands go in the fourth round and got Anthony Crolla on the ropes, and he landed a good right hook that just put Anthony Crolla face first. You know what I mean? So it was a showing from Lomachenko that we expected to see, and if he keeps fighting this caliber of opponents. And for me, I wasn't really impressed, by the fight. Again, because he was fighting an opponent that didn't really come to put on a fight, put on a show. Anthony Crolla is a guy. I give him credit, for some of his fights in the past, but he had like 6 losses before this, against guys like Linares. And I just kind of felt like he didn't really show me in this fight. Let's say even if he had like 50 wins, let's say he had like 30 wins and like 10 losses or 15 losses. If he would have came to put on like an actual fight, I kind of would have been more impressed with him and I would have gave him more respect. But from the first couple rounds, it was almost like he didn't even want to engage with Lomachenko, because trying to box from the outside against Lomachenko or move around the way he was, that gave me the sign that his body language, that he didn't want to fight, because Lomachenko is a guy you don't really want to put that much distance against and let him start thinking and having his way. You want to close that distance and start, putting the pressure on Lomachenko, fighting him. You want to dog him. That's kind of that was kind of the downfall. Like, even like, I think before the fight started, they said the commentator said that Anthony Crolla's corner said that fighting him like a dog or getting on the inside, that wasn't in their plan. They were going to do what they were going to do, which was nothing. You know what I mean? Because they didn't really come to try and engage with him. It was almost like, okay, we're going to box him, but as soon as they started, they were like, oh shit, this ain't going to work. It was almost like, oh, we're just going to stay in the back here until Lomachenko unloads on us, and then we're done. So overall, man, I just kind of thought the fight was just kind of another gimme, stay active fight for Lomachenko, a showcase fight that he's supposed to always perform that way against this level of opponent. From here, man, it's just like we need these bigger fights. He really needs to kind of put himself out there and kind of destined for that greatness, like the guys like Terrence Crawford have done in the past, and Andre Ward. They can't say, oh, he doesn't feel comfortable moving up to 140. I mean, it's 5 more pounds, and at the same time, if you have that skill to kind of back it up, I think that's doable. Even if he doesn't, let Mikey Garcia. That's the #1 guy I want to see him against. If he comes back down to 130, 135, that would be good. At this point, I think, like I said, Lomachenko, he has that skill. that a lot of people have talked about, but to me, he still hasn't really had those opponents to really prove to me, to make me say, oh man, this is that respect. This is what he really deserves. Because even last Saturday, Clarissa Shields, she had the perfect opponent to really make us say that she is one of the best women, the greatest women of all time. She was fighting a fellow middleweight champion, an undefeated fighter. So to me, that was just like, yeah, this is what she needed. And she was able to showcase that skill against that high level threat of opponent. But we still haven't seen that high level threat of opponent for Lomachenko, and I think Mikey Garcia could be that guy. Even if not Mikey, man, hey, the Tank fight, I know, what was it? Lomachenko went out to say he would fight Tank for free, which, I don't think that's true. I think he just threw that out there to kind of put more publicity on the stunt of the fight. At the same time, put more shine on him that say he's willing to fight him for free. But shit, come on, nobody's going to fight a guy for free. But from here, man, yeah, for Lomachenko, I either want to see him in there with Tank, or I want to see him in there with Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia, I know he took a bad fight, bad fight against Errol Spence. So he probably needs to come down off of that. And who knows what type of injuries he suffered from that fight. And Mikey Garcia, he's also doing a charity fight for a young fighter named Isaac Kalunda. Forgive me if I spelled his name wrong or pronounced his name wrong. But yeah, he's supposed to be doing that fight with Eric Morales, to kind of raise funds for, that young fighter who was, he was a victim of a drive-by shooting. But I'll talk more on that later. But yeah, going back here, Mikey Garcia and Lomachenko, to me, that's the one fight I really want to see. If not the Tank Davis fight, that's just as big. I think that's a real big fight. And I think, like I said, Tank, he has a lot of goods and a lot of, intangibles in his tools that could make this a different fight for Lomachenko. Because rumor was that Lomachenko, he did break his hand in this fight, hit the right hand. So to me, at this point, if Lomachenko, he really wants to do something big, time is wielding down. He's an older fighter, and it's starting to show, the way he's tearing and just kind of breaking down. But, Floyd, he was able to do it. He was able to last for a long time, 10, 15 years. His body had broken down like in the early years of his boxing career, right in his prime. So he was still able to kind of evolve and adjust and make a good, solid defensive style for him. So for Lomachenko, it's possible. Even if his body breaks down, it's still possible. So these tough fights are still out there for him. So yeah, man, definitely still want to see him in these big fights. Breaking body and whatever. Because he'll be able to adjust if he's really, really a great fighter, like they say. But yeah, that's all I got on this one, man. It was another easy win for Lomachenko against an opponent who didn't really want to fight. But let me know what your thoughts about the fight in the comments section. What do you want to see Lomachenko do from here? What moves should he make? Should he move up to 140? Should he stay at 135 and fight Tank or Mikey Garcia? I like those fights. But let me know in the comments section. Make sure y'all subscribe. Combo Breaker 99. I'm out. Peace.